Similarly here, bring your 3D cursor here, say RZ40, but this time in the negative. Okay, so that makes your curved phone. Good morning, welcome back to the weekly code. This is February 6, 2023, 8:20 a.m. and I'm in kind of a huge rush today. So I'm going to put a very strong 10-minute constraint on this recording session because I want to make sure that I record, edit and upload the video before 9 a.m. It's going to be kind of a task, but I think I have the capability and resources in place to pull that off. I have to sleep by 9:15 so that I can get up by 11:15 because the full-time job situation is going to start. Things I want to cover in this session are consistency, modeling phones, basically hard surface modeling in Blender, sick situation, how to deal with its team, endless engines challenge, and figuring dad's work. First thing that I want to talk about is consistency. So yes, the second week in a row I woke up at 4 a.m. every single day, except for one day. I am not sure which day it is. 5:10 a.m. on 2nd February. So Thursday, I woke up at 5:10 a.m. Woke up at 4 but then snoozed until 5. That was the only day that happened. Other than that, consistency is on point. So I think it's fair to say that now this entire waking up at Amrit Vela and stretching and bath in the first 1 hour and then part in the second 1 hour in the second hour has pretty much worked out to the point that I'm getting a lot more time. I get this time in the morning from 4 to 9 where there is no input from the outside world. It's just me with my thoughts and there's a lot of reflection that happens in that time. And I'm also getting time to do a lot more 3D stuff, which I will get to. Beautiful. That's one thing really worth noting at this point in time, because I was just before recording this, I was thinking about, wouldn't it be so awesome if I started doing in the code daily or weekly, like a long time ago, because I had the resources, but okay, no worries, there I durust hai. Second, modeling phones. This is one major thing I did throughout the week, hard surface modeling in Blend. So if I was to show it to you, what I first did is, I think last week's vlog I was talking about how I can take a tech review video and make like a 3D animation out of it. A lot of phones in this week, and initially I was trying to figure how do I make curved phones. There are two actually, the Realme 10 Pro Plus, which is this one. So if I just stay in the solid view and I'll add a matte cap because it looks amazing. Depending on the reference, if I was to switch on the reference, this is your phone and this is what I have modeled in 3D. And the beautiful part about this is the topology and everything is clean and nice and the way it should be. Looks amazing. This is the second one, Redmi Note 12 Pro. If I can locate it. Now here the thing that was a little different was that the phone is curved like the other one, but when it goes behind it becomes straight. The only difference here is if you see the left and the right of the phone are not completely symmetrical, so you cannot just make half of it and then mirror it on the y-axis, which is what I think I've done for this phone here, because if you see, that is completely symmetrical. The way it is in the front, the way it is in the back. And if I move it, you see this is completely symmetrical. This obviously is different because the bezels and things, but the more or less the structure is the same. The only thing that I'm really left to do is figuring out how the shading for smartphones has to be done. I'm sure it's not very complicated, but we'll figure that out. And this took quite some time and effort from my side, like a lot of time. But the Galaxy S23 Ultra, this is what we're talking about, ladies and gentlemen. I can even go to the rendered view because put an HDRI behind, and let's stay in solid for the moment. The biggest thing over here was trying to figure out how the left and the right look like the reference, because it wasn't looking like the reference for a long time. So yeah, this is a completely symmetrical model on the XY. So what I basically did is I modeled a quarter. So I modeled this much of the mesh, and then I mirrored it along X, Y and Z to get this complete model. And then I was the last thing I was trying to do is work on materials and the cameras and stuff. Over here, the most important thing that I had to figure out was using the knife tool. I've heard people say that the knife tool in Blender is an amazing tool for modeling and everything, and I could never understand how to use the knife tool. But turns out the only mistake I was making is if you use the knife tool and you come in here, you have to press spacebar for that to actually happen. So what I was doing is I was trying to come in here and then I was right clicking, and then I was like, for some reason I wasn't getting that thing. So yeah, that's the only thing with the knife tool, but it's amazing. You can cut through meshes. So if you see this mesh here for the bezel part and this part, I've literally cut these vertices through, because you can do it through loop cuts and stuff, like while I think it's the body part which is peeking through. Yeah, and ideally I don't think there should be a gap. There is a little bit of gap, yes. 6 situations team. So Saturday, the whole day I just kind of took the liberty that okay, Saturday Sunday I'm gonna just do this. Saturday evening, out of nowhere, out of thin air, the sick situation returned. It is a very constant pattern I've been observing in life. Sick situation happens how? Starts with sore throat, then it goes to cold, then it goes to fever, and we're devastated, we're ruined, we're over, we're finished. So the last time around I figured this solution out, that steam is the way to go. If you're having cold, anything related to nasal cavity, just take steam and it'll be all fine. So yesterday I went super heavy on steam. I did 5 rounds of steam the whole day, because I woke up with a lot of sore throat, and the kind of sore throat that if I wouldn't do anything about it, if I didn't take any sort of action, I would be having fever by now. Yesterday morning, to the point that I did not even complete the entire part. I woke up at 4, but I just did Japji Sahib and Jap Sahib and did not do the other 3. Like I couldn't speak. The throat was aching and I was also very sleepy. And now I'm feeling pretty much okay. I'm pretty much ready to take on the work and the day and the weekend. Endless Engines challenge. So PW Nisher, however, Clinton Jones, his name is Clinton Jones. I did his moving meditations challenge and I learned a ton making that. He's come up with another CG community challenge, which is Endless Engines, and it's about a car. It's a vehicle that comes on the road and then moves along. So there are a lot of things that I can think about it. The deadline is March 15. So we have over a month for that now. I was thinking maybe I can make a video on the Galaxy S23 first, because I have the model, just like its specifications and stuff, and I was also kind of thinking about a kind of skit I could do called What's the Hype. That's the one thing I really want to do. And then after that I'll take up this challenge, because I have to submit something for the challenge. It's just so much fun to work on these challenges. You get to like flex your muscles, and now it's also a very great test for me, like from the past challenge to this, how much have I evolved as a 3D artist. So that's going to be an amazing kind of gradient to see for myself. Figuring that's work, I had initially thought that over the weekend I will complete like 40 episodes. For the remaining lot that I have of show, and I have about 60 to 70 episodes left, which is something I'm going to cover through this week. Like I do not want this to continue beyond this week, the second week of February. To be honest, it's not very challenging. Even if I do like 10-12 episodes a day, I will easily cover those 60-70 episodes through the week. So that is one thing that I'm going to do for the coming week. How to make a curved screen phone in Blender. Start with a plane that is the size of the entire phone, time into edit mode, make 2 loop cuts right through the center and scale them out. I will actually show you how you can make one curved phone, just so that there is some bit of context to this video technically. So I'll come in here, I will just add a plane. See, RX90, scale it down. Okay, SZ, SX, let's say this is how your phone is. You're going to tap into edit mode, Control R to loop cut 2 at the center, left click, right click to leave in place. Now you want to say SX, scale it out till the point that from where the phone starts to curve. Okay, now with edge or vertex select, you select, actually for that curvature, right, you want to even add 2 more loop cuts. So go like this horizontally and then SZ. So you come until here, and then with vertex select, you select the corner vertices and Control Shift B to bevel them. And this according to your reference, how curved the phone actually is. Okay, now you're gonna go to face select with 3. You're gonna select these faces, shift right click to bring your 3D cursor here. We're gonna say RZ. Now firstly we want to take the pivot point and change from median point, whatever it is, to 3D cursor, so that it rotates along that, and then say RZ20, or let's say 40 is a good curve, RZ40. Similarly here, bring your 3D cursor here, say RZ40, but this time in the negative. Okay, so that makes your curved phone. Alright, now in order to just make the whole phone, what you want to do is tab into edit mode. With edge select the edge loop, which is over here. Now you go into front mode. You'll be having a reference, obviously. What you do is shift D, right click, leave in place, E, right click, leave in place, and then alt S to scale along the normals and bring it up like this. Now from here you want to take it back, so E, right click, leave in place, you say GY, bring it behind like this. And let's say if it's a completely symmetrical phone, let's imagine that is the case. I'm going to come in here. Now I'm going to straighten this edge out, right? You see that this is curved according to this, and then at the bottom also it is curved, but I want to make it completely straight. So I'm going to take my pivot point to median point, and I'm going to say SY 0. That will straighten it out. And yeah, that's pretty much your phone. I'm going to say shade auto smooth. How to unbevel edges beveled in Blender. This is one important thing I learned, so I will quickly show you this as well. Shift A, mesh, plane. Okay, let me just tap into edit mode here. Control Shift B, and I've beveled these edges. Now I want to unbevel these edges. So what you want to do is you want to select the edges which are part of the bevel, and you want to select one edge which is on the line that you want to bring it on. So before that you want to change the pivot point to active element, and then you want to select this point last, and then what you're going to do is SX, yep, scale it 0 on the Z axis, or depending on whichever axis it is. Now you see you've unbeveled that edge, and what you could do is then you could come in here and dissolve these. So now you can even remove this, so you've unbeveled that edge. Same if I want to do here, I can select these, select this last SZ0. So yeah, I think one of those curved screens that I had made, I wanted to take it up and then have for S23 only. I think this is S23. So if you see here, there is the screen and there is the bevel, but if you look at the curve that is above the body, that has a different curvature. Like it's not as rounded here, it's like flat at the top. So I had to unbevel these edges, and then after that obviously I've done a lot more things here, but unbevel edges now here. Yeah, watch CG Matters beginner GeoNodes middle thing, do curved phone. I made a GeoNodes thing also to make this curved phone situation. So basically group input is a plane, you give it a set position. For the selection, either separate XYZ, use separate XYZ based on position, separating only the X, where it's greater than 0.8 or less than -1, or Boolean selection. Z mein -0.2, so it does this for you. This is very hard-coded values. This is not procedural modeling at all, but something I did in GeoNodes after a long time, so it was worth documenting. Yeah, I have definitely exceeded my time limit. I don't know how I'm gonna edit this and upload it, but we'll see. Thank you so much for being in the Khud. I might have missed a few things here and there. Thanks so much for being in the Khud. I will catch you next week. Peace.